have to make a decision of what we're going to do. Are we going to allow fear to continue to rule our life, or are we going to feel the fear and do it anyway? Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. So today I wanted to have a little chit chat about fear. I've had a couple of friends reach out to me, congratulating on starting this channel, being proud of me, and letting me know how brave I am to be doing this, to be putting myself out there, to be making myself seen. And I think there's some sort of assumption that because I'm doing this means I don't have fear. And that is so far from the truth, okay? Even just now, I took 5 minutes of praying and meditation to calm my nerves because I'm freaking scared, okay? All right, so I have always struggled with fear and anxiety around most things in life. Literally, I would say about 90% of my life. I would even go as far as saying it has been part of my identity for all these years. I want to start off with a little story of my life. A couple of years ago, I decided to serve a mission for my church, the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. And that was, at that point, the scariest thing I have ever decided to do with my life. I still have a fear of public speaking, a fear of speaking to strangers, a fear of putting myself out there, a fear of talking to people I don't know, a fear of teaching people I don't know, which is literally what you do as a missionary. So the fact that I would even go out on this mission, leave the comfort of my home and go to a completely different country to teach people that I do not know with a companion, which is another volunteer, that I do not know, was huge, especially for someone like me. And I remember it was the first day on the mission, and I had an interview with the leader of the mission. And he's interviewing me, getting to know me, asking me questions. And one of the questions he asked me was, "What are your strengths?" I have no idea what I said, but I remember when he asked me, "And what are your weaknesses? And what are you afraid of?" I immediately remember what I said. I said, "I'm afraid of public speaking." And he's like, "Okay." So we continue on with the interview. And at the end of the interview, he's like, "Hey, would you be able to give a speech in front of the entire mission tomorrow as a welcoming?" We were going to have a welcome ceremony for the new missionaries that were coming in with me. And he's like, "I would really like you to speak." And I'm like, "I just told you that my biggest fear is public speaking. Why would you make me do this?" And immediately I felt the anxiety rush in, the fear, all the what ifs. What if I mess up? What if they judge me? What if they don't like me? What if? But I had made a promise to God the night before that I was going to give my all to this mission. I was going to get myself out of my comfort zone. I was going to do the things that were asked of me. I was going to try to talk to as many people as possible. I was pretty much going to feel the fear and do whatever I needed to do anyway. So he caught me on a good day because I told him yes. So the next day, I'm in front of, 250 other missionaries, and I go in there with my Spanglish, with my shaking, with my stuttering, with my blushing. I give this speech and I'm like, okay, I'm done. But I learned so much from that experience. So how does fear originate? And it's so interesting because it originates from our ancestors, our hunters and gatherer ancestors that really needed to feel fear to be able to survive. Everything around what they were doing of hunting and gathering and looking for food and trying to find predators before the predators found them had to do with needing to feel fear to know what to do in those situations. And as time passed, we no longer have the actual predators, but we still have that fear programmed into our mind and into our brain. And we have to consciously make the decision that, I'm going to feel this fear, and it's up to me what I decide to do with that fear. As you can see, it's in our nature to fear the unknown. That's completely normal. I would say everyone feels fear at some point. It's the reason why people stay in toxic jobs, in toxic situations where this is not right for you, but the fear of the unknown is greater than whatever that toxic situation you're in is. Something to keep in mind is that our fear has transformed from something that was actual danger to perceived danger. It has also become very much future based of what's going to happen, and we really focus on things that may not even occur. And while fear was a way of protection for our ancestors, now it has transformed into something that is holding us back. So if fear is holding us back, why do we allow that to happen? As humans, we are wired and programmed and designed to take the path of least resistance. And if you think about it, like if I can be in my little bubble of a comfort zone or feel fear while doing things that are outside my comfort, I'm going to stay in my little bubble. But that little bubble, aka our comfort zone, is not allowing us to progress, is not allowing us to grow the way we're meant to do. It doesn't allow us to live up to our true potential because we're just stuck in something that is known to us, that feels safe and it feels good. But in reality, the comfort zone is not even comfortable. It's just easy. And like I said, as humans, we're designed to take the path of least resistance. So we have to make a decision of what we're going to do. Are we going to allow fear to continue to rule our life? Or are we going to feel the fear and do it anyway? So I wanted to read a quote from Nelson Mandela that says, "I learned that courage was not the absence of fear, but the triumph over it. The brave man is not he who does not feel afraid, but he who conquers that fear." I honestly used to think that people that would put themselves out there were doing that because they didn't have fear. What? And it's interesting because as I saw myself transform on that mission, I saw myself still having fear around public speaking. I still had fear around talking to strangers. I still had fear about teaching people I didn't know. But I didn't allow that fear to dictate the experience that I was going to have, to dictate the people that I was going to reach. I knew that the message that I was spreading was so important that I had to feel that fear, let it go on the passenger seat, and continue driving. So it's not that successful people don't have fear. They have the fear, but the difference is that they take action despite feeling scared. So how do we conquer that fear? So here are some of the realizations that I've had that have allowed me to move past fear. Knowing, understanding, acknowledging, and accepting that fear isn't going anywhere. I'm never going to get to the point that I'm like, okay, well now I can do the thing because I don't feel fear. I wish life was that easy, but it's not. You have to be able to accept that fear is always going to be there, and you decide what you're going to do with that fear. Are you going to let the fear continue to not take action towards your goals? Or are you going to recognize that that fear will always be there and you get to take the action anyway? Something else that has helped me is understanding that the perception of fear, the anxiety and stress around taking that next step is more scary than actually taking the step, okay? So you're using all of this creative energy, all of this anxiety, all of this time, all of this mental capacity to be afraid of what you are supposed to be doing instead of using all that energy to doing what you should be doing. Does that make sense? Like I can sit here in anxiety all day thinking about, oh my gosh, what if this happens? What if they don't like me? What if I mess up? What if I fail? Or I can be like, you know what? I'm going to figure it out as I go and I'm going to take action anyway. Either way, I'm using time to do either or. And I remember I went to a trampoline park with my daughter a couple weeks ago, and they have this zip lining thing. And I know it's not scary for most people, but it was scary for me, okay? And I was like, there's no way I'm gonna get on that thing. Like, that is scary. I felt the fear. And I remember I walked up anyway. I was like, I'm gonna do this. I don't care. And I was like researching the topic of fear. And I'm like, okay, I know that the perception of fear is worse than the actual doing of the thing. So I went up there, and it just so happened that there was another lady next to me on the other zip line. And she was also scared. And we're both looking at each other like, what are we doing? Like, are we gonna actually do it? And I just remember, like, we were there for like a good, I don't know, I was there for like 2 or 3 minutes. She was probably there for like 5 minutes. And we're just sitting there like, are we going to do it? Should we do it? And our families are like, yeah, you can do it. Go, go, go. And I'm like, I don't know. Anyway, I remember this realization of like, the perception is worse than the actual thing. So I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to do it. I'm just going to do it. So I went on there. I freaking busted my butt. I landed wrong. It was terrible. But that's not the point. The point is that I freaking did it anyway. And I remember after I was done, I like looked back to see like what the status was on this lady, and she was still up there like, I don't know. And it's funny because her friend was like, you know what, like, do what I do. And her friend went to the other one, and they were both up there like, yeah, we're not going to do it. So they ended up walking down, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I know this is like such a small example, but this is how life works, literally. You can either be there on the verge of like making your dreams come true, or you can just be like, you know what? This is scary. I'm going to do it anyway. Let's go. Bam. Something else that has helped me is remembering times that I have felt fear, but have done the action anyway, and how proud I have made myself. And just remembering like, I didn't die. My perception was so much worse than the actual thing. And remembering that pride that I felt in myself and whatever I was doing, remembering that I can replicate that in different areas of my life. Something else that is super important is you have to take action. And I know this is not something that people with fear want to hear. You want to hear there's like this magic pill that you can take to not feel fear. Or you want to hear, no, you just wait until you feel ready and then you run toward your goals. No, you are never going to feel ready, but the only way to beat that fear is to take action anyway. And it sounds so scary because it is. And then I would say the biggest thing that has helped me is the realization that at some point my life is going to end, and I'm going to feel one of two things. I'm either going to feel pride in the life that I created for myself, the fear that I felt but took action anyway, or I'm going to feel so much regret over the things that I didn't do, the things that I should have, could have, would have, didn't accomplish in my life, because I allowed fear to dictate the actions, the non-actions, the feelings, the things that I could have accomplished not come to pass. And that realization helps me really put things into perspective, that every single day, every choice that we make, we're leaning towards one of those two paths. And I don't know about you, but for me, I would hate to live a life of regret. I would hate to not have tapped into my full potential. And I would much rather feel the fear and do it anyway than live with that regret for the rest of my life. To summarize, I want to go back to my mission story, because my mission president really saw the potential that I had, that I didn't know I had. He gave me training roles to train other missionaries. He gave me leadership roles to help teach some of the mission. He believed in me when I had zero belief in myself. I remember one time when he called me and he's like, hey, I really want you to extend this role of training leader. Do you accept? And immediately my answer in my head was no. I'm way too scared for that. I'm not ready for that. And I remember I was like shaking, and I told him like, do I have to answer you right now? And he just kind of started laughing. He's like, yeah, of course. And I'm like, yeah. I know for a fact that if I wouldn't have taken all of those opportunities that were presented to me because of fear, I would have left that mission at the end of 18 months with so much regret. with so much untapped potential, with thinking like, how many more people could I have impacted? How much more of a difference could I have made? But I always remember that promise that I made to God the day before my mission started of like, I'm going to give it all. I'm going to give it all I got. And I hope that you can be with me throughout the thick and thin. I hope that you can help me and give me that grace of making up for the rest. And I know that that has been, my mission was such a blueprint to my life. And because of that mission precedent, I was able to transform, I was able to grow, I was able to impact so many people around me that if I would have just went off here, I know I would not have had that transformation in myself or in the mission or on others. So that is my message today. And I want to leave with asking you guys a question. The question is, what would you do if you didn't have fear? Let me know in the comments what you guys think. What are some fears that you need to work through? What are some videos that you guys think would be helpful to you guys so that I can go ahead and create more content? That was a message that I wanted to share with you guys, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.